Since 2024, China has become the clear leader in the global electric vehicle market, with huge increases in both production and sales. In the first quarter of the year, China saw a remarkable 28% year-on-year rise in EV sales, far exceeding other major markets like the US, which saw only a 2% rise. This growth is part of a larger global trend, with total EV sales rising by 18%, showing China's growing market share. Leading companies like BYD and Tesla are examples of the country's strong manufacturing capabilities. BYD has had a lot of success with both battery electric cars and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, with sales 133% higher than the previous year. China has also secured its place in the supply chain for key raw materials needed to make batteries, which is important for keeping its industrial output high. Chinese companies are also putting a lot of effort into exports. In early 2024, they sent nearly 100,000 vehicles abroad, which is 152% more than the previous year and mostly aimed at Southeast Asian markets. The company's push for international sales is part of a plan to not only control the US market but also spread their power around the world. The US has made a name for itself with well-known brands like Tesla, but it still has trouble producing as much as China does. US EV sales growth has slowed down because of higher costs to make the cars and competition from cheaper Chinese models. The European Union's recent move to put heavy tariffs on electric cars coming from China has caused a lot of controversy and made people worry about what protectionist policies could mean for other areas of the economy. These taxes, which range from 27.4% to 48.1%, were put in place after the European Commission looked into anti-subsidy schemes. The investigation found that Chinese EV manufacturers were getting help from the government, which let them sell their goods cheaper than European manufacturers and put pressure on the EU's own EV industry. However, looking at this policy's history and present-day implementation shows major problems and suggests that the EU's approach is wrong and might hurt itself more than it helps. The EU's move to put tariffs on Chinese EVs mirrors measures that were meant to protect European businesses from competition from around the world. As an example, look at the European solar panel industry in the early 2010s. At that time, cheaper solar panels from China flooded the European market, thanks to government subsidies. In response, the EU put tariffs on these products in an attempt to save its own solar industry, but instead, it crashed, showing that tariffs don't work to stop competition. The EU's claim that Chinese handouts change the market is just an easy way to hide its own mistakes in the EV market. Because of the recent tariffs the European Union put on Chinese electric vehicles, European EV manufacturers have had a hard time keeping up with their Chinese competitors in terms of price and technology. Instead of adapting to the changing global market, the EU is trying to limit competition through protectionist tariffs. This makes it harder for European consumers to get affordable EVs and also slows down innovation in Europe's own industry. As a response, China has taken a number of actions aimed at key European industries, mainly luxury goods and agriculture. One of the most important was putting tariffs of up to 39% on European brandy, especially French cognac, which is an important market for French luxury exports. People in China see this as a direct response to what they see as protectionist policies from the EU. It also shows how tense things are getting between the two economic powers. As a result, China is thinking about putting tariffs on even more goods, such as luxury cars and agricultural exports like pork and dairy. These moves are meant to hurt industries that depend on the Chinese market, which will have a bigger effect on the economies of EU countries, especially those with strong luxury goods industries like France and Italy. The luxury market is especially at risk because it depends so much on Chinese buyers, and these tariffs could make the EU's already tough economic problems even worse. Let's take a moment to ask for your help. If you like what we post, please click the like button to help us get more views and comments. Your participation helps us grow, so thank you. France and Italy are especially exposed to China's countermeasures because their agriculture and luxury goods industries are so big. France, which sends a lot of brandy to China, has to deal with tariffs of up to 39%. Italy, which ships a lot of high-end fashion and wine, is also affected. Both countries also have a lot of national debt. France's is over 3 trillion euros and Italy's is 138% of its GDP. These taxes make their economies even weaker and give them more problems to solve. The response from China could include more than just high-end goods, like Italy's wine exports. Spain's pork and Germany's auto industry. China might also think about raising tariffs even more, but so far it hasn't gone after strategically important goods like Airbus planes. This careful method shows that China wants to fight back, but it is also aware of its own economic needs. The trade dispute could have bigger effects on global supply lines and the economies of both the EU and China. The EU is currently navigating the tensions between US protectionism and China's retaliatory measures, so the dispute's long-term effects are still unknown. China's exports of electric vehicles, EVs, have grown a lot, and as of early 2024, some of the biggest places where Chinese-made EVs go are Russia, Thailand, and Malaysia. America, Italia, the UK, and a number of Middle Eastern countries. Russia is still the top location, with China sending about 999,000 cars there in 2023 alone. Mexico comes in second with over 415,000 cars, and other top destinations include the UK with 214,000 cars, Belgium with 27,000 cars, and Saudi Arabia with 213,000 cars. Chinese automakers have boldly moved into both established and emerging markets, with big names like BYD leading the way. Tesla's Shanghai Gigafactory and the state-owned SAIC are two examples of companies that have strong export plans. They are mainly aimed at Europe, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. BYD, for instance, has made a lot of progress in countries like Australia, India, and a number of European countries, as well as setting up factories in places like Southeast Asia and Brazil. China's automakers have also used cost savings to their advantage. They can undercut rivals in many foreign markets thanks to help from the government and advanced production methods. This huge growth has helped Chinese EV brands get bigger very quickly, especially since the need for cleaner technologies keeps going up around the world. This huge growth shows China's growing influence in the world's EV markets, both in new countries and in established ones like Europe. Chinese EVs being present in places like Germany, the UK, and Spain shows that competition is growing in areas that Western and Japanese automakers have long dominated. As part of its larger trade strategy against China, the US has also put a lot more tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, EVs. In September 2024, the Biden administration raised tariffs on Chinese-built EVs to 100%, which is a big increase from the previous 25%. This is part of a larger trade package meant to stop China's competitive advantage, which US officials say is caused by heavy state subsidies that let Chinese EV makers undercut international competitors. In addition to EVs, the US has put tariffs on key products like solar cells, steel, aluminium, and important minerals used in battery production. These tariffs are meant to protect American makers from unfair competition and to get more EVs and related technologies made in the United States. US officials think that if these steps aren't taken, lower-cost goods could flood the US market. Chinese goods hurt American businesses. Concerns have been raised about how China's rapid rise to become the world leader in EV production will affect local automakers that are behind schedule in making the switch to electric mobility. In response, China has threatened to impose tariffs of up to 25% on US vehicle imports, including those from major American automakers. With its high tariffs, the US is also being accused by China of breaking trade rules in reports sent to the World Trade Organization. China has also hinted that it might go after other US industries, which could mean that these retaliation actions get worse. Besides cars, we'll talk about other industries like agriculture and high-tech goods. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If the content spoke to you or inspired you, please show your support by liking it and subscribing to stay connected with our community.